amateur pilot. Dad was somebody where something was happening, you went to it. There was something exciting going on, you just went because then you got to be there. The morning of May 18th, 1980, I was 11 years old, and I was going downstairs to listen to American Top 40, Casey Kasem's show, and I had the radio, and I turned the radio on to tune in, see what was Top 40 that week, and instead of the regular show that was on, the radio DJs were the local people, and they were going absolutely crazy. The mountain was erupting. Because my dad was a geologist, and because we had a view of the mountain, we were pretty in tune with what was going on. You know, all spring, the mountain would erupt, and we'd look and be like, oh, that's cool, and there'd be like this little plume of ash over it, or a little plume of smoke. But on this day, on May 18th, it was so spectacularly gigantic compared to everything else that it had ever been. There was a plume that went all the way to the top of the horizon. It was just incredible. I said, Dad, take a look at the mountain. He took a look at it, reached out for the phone, and called somebody up and said, I need a plane. And then he looked at me and said, hey, you want to go flying? And I was like, sure, that seems like a great idea. I'll go flying. We flew out of the Troutdale Airport. And one of the things that I really remember out of this whole adventure was that when we were heading out the freeway, we were heading out 84, I guess. I remember very distinctly looking over at the other lane of traffic, and it was like all this traffic was coming the other way, and it was just packed. It was really crowded, and we were just flying down the freeway, and I was like, oh, look at those suckers. They're all stuck in traffic. And then I looked up and around, and I realized that it was us and the police and the ambulances and the fire trucks were the only one going our direction, and everybody else was headed the other way. We headed up, and we headed towards the mountain, just I guess like we're doing here today. As we were approaching the mountain, he said things like, okay, here we're in the yellow zone. Then we flew for a while longer, and then he was like, now we're in the red zone. And I remember being 11 years old thinking, maybe we shouldn't be in the red zone. But we were. You could see just like huge clouds of ash. The whole atmosphere was just like roiling. I felt like it was boiling. One of the things that also really stands out from the flight was the lightning. There was lightning everywhere, and I was actually more scared that we were going to hit by lightning than anything else. It wasn't just like white lightning or whatever. There was pink lightning and blue lightning and purple lightning and green lightning. It just felt like it was like a whole rainbow of lightning everywhere. We approached the mountain, and my dad and Ken were talking. My dad was flying, and Ken was sitting next to him. They were both taking pictures like crazy. There were times where both Ken and my dad were taking pictures, and they would both be looking at opposite directions, and no one was flying the plane. I did have to call their attention to that fact. We just never thought of those photographs as anything more than just a record of a really amazing day. I never really thought about how rare they are. My mom always says that this was like the highlight of my dad's life. This story for our family is, it's like a really fun adventure, but we never lose sight of the fact that a lot of people lost their lives that day. I mean, it was a really traumatic day. A lot of people died. A lot of people were never found. There's a lot of families, who don't have a fun story to tell about this day. So I try to be pretty sensitive to that too. For us, everything turned out great, and we have this fun story to tell. But for a lot of families, they lost people that they loved.